All right, good morning. I'm here today to talk about discussion forums. Today's going to be a little bit awkward because there are certain things that I can't show you in discussions without showing you student work, and I'm not going to do that because privacy. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of working around that. But I'm going to show you today discussion topics, which is sort of a main means that you can generate class interaction on your sites, and works very well for formative assessment when you're doing online stuff because it gets the kids involved in interacting with each other. It is sort of a Socratic tool for getting information across and getting the kids to be engaging with some of your ideas in preparation for assignments. So without further ado, to the screenshot. Okay, so I added assignments and discussions to the nav bar. If you want to remember how to do that, you can go back to episode 2, but those are now there so that if the students want to go directly to the assignments and discussions, they can go through there. I added a discussion forum to the announcements bar here. So this would be an example of an assignment. I would normally put like some explanation on what to do here so that they don't just have the bare link. But just to remind you how to do that, you can go into the announcement and you have this link thing that you can use to take discussion forums and then just put them right into your announcements. That's what I'm talking about running everything out of the announcement bar, because you can just put everything into announcements, which means you can just throw work up onto the site. But now I'm going to explain to you how discussions work. Now, the way that discussions are laid out in D2L is there are 3 levels, basically. You've got forums, topics, and threads. Now, forums are sort of general categories. They're like folders that you can put discussions into. I tend to go by units so that the kids, if they're looking, and just for organizational purposes, you have a forum that is unit 1, forum that is unit 2, or in this case, I have an example of a forum which is the class lounge, which is where I would just put discussions that aren't involved in any particular unit so that I have a place to put that. And then you have topics. Topics are where you get down to the sort of day-to-day, like this is a thing that we're going to talk about, and sort of this week's lesson. And I have here an example of an introductory lesson, the Introduce Yourself forum, which I often use with my online classes to just get them to tell me who they are. And this would be an example of a forum that I would post information so that the students would then respond to it. Now, within a individual topic, you have what are called threads. That's when a student goes to this button here, starts a new thread, or you go to there and start a new thread, and then you post an individual discussion. And those are the particular topic areas that end up going on to become individualized discussions. Now, there are 2 sort of types of ways that you can do this. You can either have a very general topic that is your at the topic level that is general discussion, and then have all of the students respond individually in their own individual threads, or you can create a particular topic area and then create your own threads that you then expect the kids to all respond to you and interact with each other. So one is more for if you want just each student to respond in turn with their own thread, and then you look at that, but there's not a lot of discussion there. or you can, or if you create a discussion, then you're expecting them to read each other's posts and have like a conversation with you and with others, and do and so generally for those you may want to start your own threads and allow them to start their own threads, and you may occasionally want to move their stuff out and have like separate threads for different discussions. And that's more or less how discussions work. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how you set up a topic, because when you edit a topic and set it up, you can give it certain qualities. For example, you could allow anonymous posts, but I've never done that because that just seems like it's inviting problems. You can create a rating scheme, which is just like you can give it like a number of stars when you read someone's post, and that's just a quick, vague means of encouragement. I don't think it's a very good means of feedback, but it's there for you. If you want to, if you want to write discussion forums ahead of time and then create a specific start date and end date for the discussion, so you can write them in advance and then have them appear at particular times, and that's using this restriction bar that's in the edit discussion thing. You can also lock discussions. I actually use this for situations where I'm trying to have like a weekly discussion and I don't want students going back and posting in discussions that were last week's discussion because no one's reading that one anymore, so there's no point, and to sort of encourage them to stay in the moment with the work of the class. And you can use locking in order to do that, to sort of keep kids moving forward. Another thing that you can do is it is possible to assess your discussion forums. You just go in, you create a grade item. I'm not going to get into the mark book really, but you can set it up so that it goes into the mark book, and you can set it up so that even if it's in the grade in the mark book, that it doesn't actually count as an evaluation at the end. That's and but you can just go in and score it out of a particular number. You can add rubrics, but again, that's not something I'm covering in this series. These are all things that you can learn after the first week. But but that is a way to create a number and to give feedback, and I'll show you what that looks like sort of in a minute. So the biggest thing that I want you to be aware of when it comes to the edit topic forum, though, is this button, which is the hide from users buttons. Because if you create something at a time, you can click on that in order to make sure that the students can't see it until you want them to be paying attention to it. However, this sort of when you create new forums and assignments, occasionally it'll start hidden and you have to unhide it in order for the students to be aware of its existence. Because if you create a link and this button is still pressed, then it means that the students can't find the thing, and they'll press the link and then it won't go anywhere, and they'll ask you what's going on. So always remember to be going back here and checking whether you've hidden, or whether the system has hidden your forum, so that you can unclick that and make sure that the students can all see it. Finally, the important thing, the other thing that I want to quickly mention to you, you'll notice that this one says it includes assessment. That's because I clicked on the thing so that it has a mark in the grade book. So in order to actually mark your forums, if you just want to give feedback that you want everybody to be able to see, just respond to them in the forum so that all of the students can theoretically see any feedback that you're giving. But if you would rather give feedback to individual students that other students can't see, then you have to go into here and assess topic. See, and you, if you click on assess topic, now I can't really show you what this exactly works because that would require showing student work, and I'm not doing that. So so when you come in here, normally you would see a list of all of the students that are in the class, and you could click on their work, and it would give you the opportunity to give them a number grade and to give comments that the kids could see as feedback and that will be recorded in your grade book. And that would be the means by which you could give feedback to the students about what they're posting on the forums. Now, it is also important to note when you look at discussion forums that you can go into threads and you can see engagement with that particular thread. So if I look here, you can see down at the bottom of the thread, 0 unread, 2 replies, 2 views. That's because I've gone in there twice. So you can actually see if there are students reading other people's posts, and you can get a sense, maybe not the specific ones, but but you can definitely see if students are coming to this, and you can get a sense of what kind of traffic they're getting. So that's discussion forums. We're being kind of discouraged from having like big video chat type situations for privacy reasons. So and the reality of the circumstance that we're in, the students will not always be able to be on on computers at the same time. We have families out there that are all sharing the same computer, and the reality is that in real-time engagement is not going to be easy for a lot of these students during the current conditions. So discussion forums are a really easy way to create something that people can talk about like at different times, catch as catch can throughout the day. And as long as you signal to them where they're supposed to be looking at any given time, and you can use locking of forums in order to keep them going to the next discussion and keeping things moving on. I usually give them I generally try to keep it like week by week though, so that the students can contribute, and then we move on to a separate topic, because day by day is just like, you can't reliably assume that the students will be able to get on that immediately all the time. At least that's what I've found. And you also have to remember that discussion forums are really good for talking about broad areas and allowing them to bring into their own experience. You don't want to put out basic questions where the one keener kid who checked the topic at 8:35 gave the right answer, and everyone else just has to either say yes or copy their answer, because like forums are not and discussion forums are not that useful for like math questions and the like, but they're really good for topics that that are broader and can generate interesting back and forths or arguments. So that's more or less discussion forums in a nutshell. I will be back tomorrow talking about assignments, and that will probably be my last episode because I've got my own classes to prep for. So stay strong, everybody, and I will see you again tomorrow.